It's weekend and we're back with your one-stop show on corporates and startup world updates. Companynama, I'm Shrestha Tiwari. Over to this week's updates from the corporate world first. Mahanagar Gas has acquired Unison Enviro, an entity previously owned by Ashoka Buildcon and North Haven, which is an affiliate of Morgan Stanley India Infra Fund. Mahanagar Gas will take 100% stake in Unison for 531 crore rupees. MGL is a leading natural gas distribution company supplying compressed natural gas (CNG) to vehicles and piped natural gas to domestic, commercial and industrial consumers in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Thane and adjoining areas and Raigad district. The acquisition will enable Mahanagar Gas to expand to newer geographical areas in Maharashtra and Karnataka. The extended footprint will help the company to scale its future business development activities across a larger network and customer base. Adani Power on 7th March said that it has amalgamated its 6 subsidiaries with itself after receiving NCLT nod for the same last month. The 6 companies APML, APRL, UPCL, REL, REGL and APMUL now stand amalgamated with APL. Adani Power has said that the amalgamation was sanctioned by the Ahmedabad bench of NCLT on February 8, 2023. Birla Tyres, which was admitted for debt resolution by India's bankruptcy court last year, has received expressions of interest from SIAT, Bain Piramal-backed India Resurgent Fund, Jindal Power, Dalmia Bharat Refractories and MCPI. The NCLT admitted the company under the corporate insolvency resolution process in May 2022 on a petition by chemicals maker SRF after it defaulted on dues of 15 crore rupees. The $15 billion Essar Group is making a quiet comeback to the steel industry with a global footprint in 3 mega projects with an investment of $8 billion over 3 to 4 years. It plans to open a steel plant in Saudi Arabia and an iron pellet plant each in Odisha and Minnesota, US. Earlier, the Essar Group in its first innings to the steel business sold its asset Essar Steel to L&T Mittal for 42,000 crore rupees in 2019. Kansai Nerolac Paints Limited on March 3rd informed the stock exchanges that its board has approved the acquisition of another 40% stake in Nerofix Private Limited for 37 crore rupees, which will make it the sole owner of the company. The stake will be acquired from Polygel India, with whom Kansai had started Nerofix as a joint venture in 2019. The acquisition is expected to be completed by March 31st, 2023 for 37 crore rupees. And now over to the segment that talks about major corporate controversies and disputes. Quite a few biggies on the radar this week. Which were those? Let's find out. The NCLT on 7th March approved Mumbai-based Suraksha Group's bid to acquire debt-laden Jaypee Infratech through the insolvency process. The development comes as a relief for over 20,000 home buyers nearly 6 years after the debt-ridden company entered into the insolvency process. The India's bankruptcy court's ruling comes about 6 years after the construction company entered into the insolvency process, and the decision has paved the way for more than 20,000 housing units in various projects of Jaypee Infratech spread across Noida and Greater Noida in the National Capital Region that were stalled due to the matter. The corporate insolvency resolution process against Jaypee Infra started in August 2017 over an application by an IDBI bank-led consortium. Torrent Group has moved the Supreme Court against the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal's order that permitted holding of an extended auction for Reliance Capital, which is undergoing insolvency proceedings. The Apex Court is expected to start hearing the matter next week. Indian lenders have asked the bidders for bankrupt Reliance Capital to offer 8,000 crore rupees in minimum upfront cash in the second auction starting on March 20th. At the same time, lenders have set a minimum bid amount of 9,500 crore rupees for the first round of the auction and 10,000 crore rupees for the second, with an additional 250 crore rupees for subsequent rounds. India's biggest private lender HDFC Bank Limited and several other companies may be forced to shell out more in gratuity payments to employees following an order by a labour court in Kerala. A petition filed on 8th of June 2022 before the controlling authority argued that the bank must also include personal pay while calculating the gratuity and not just the basic pay. At the center of the case is a petition filed by a former employee of HDFC Bank under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. HDFC Bank had already made a gratuity payment of 5.95 lakh rupees to the petitioner, who was PV Unnikrishna Pillai. As per the ruling, it has to pay an additional 7.22 lakh rupees to him. Zee Entertainment Enterprises and the Indian Performing Rights Society on 6th of March entered into an agreement to settle all disputes and claims. Also, Zee said that IPRS has agreed to withdraw the insolvency petition filed by them. IPRS and Zee were in a dispute over 211 crore rupees dues that the latter was supposed to pay. In January, IPRS filed a petition against Zee in the NCLT. IPRS petition was due to a debt and default of nearly 211.42 crore rupees, which Zee needed to pay as royalty for utilization of literary and musical works. The NCLAT has rejected a plea by the shareholders of McDowell Holdings challenging the initiation of the corporate insolvency resolution process against the firm. A two-member bench of the Appellate Tribunal upheld the order of the Bengaluru bench of NCLT, which had directed to initiate proceedings over the plea filed by its financial creditor Sunstar Hotels and Estates. 9 shareholders, who together hold more than 15% of the stake in McDowell Holdings, had moved the NCLAT against the order. Kishore Biyani's business empire continues to crumble, with yet another company filing for insolvency. After Future Retail, now Future Enterprises has also been admitted for insolvency resolution. The development comes mere weeks after the NCLT admitted an insolvency plea against the Biyani-backed Future Supply Chain Solution. The Mumbai bench of the NCLT has ordered the commencement of corporate insolvency resolution process. The firm will now be auctioned in order to recover unpaid dues. The SAT has stayed the fine of 26 crore rupees that was levied on Coffee Day Enterprises, the parent of Cafe Coffee Day, by SEBI, a regulatory filing had said on March 6th. Coffee Day, in its exchange filing, attached a SAT order dated March 3rd, which noted that the imposition of penalty will remain stayed till the appeal remains pending before the tribunal. The tribunal further said that the matter may be listed for admission and for final disposal on May 2nd, 2023. Coffee Day had moved the SAT on January 25th, a day after the SEBI issued an order asking the company to pay a penalty of 26 crore rupees. Well, those were all the updates from the corporate world. Now let's take a look at what went down in the startup world this week. Abu Dhabi Investment Authority and private equity fund Chris Capital are in negotiations to acquire a stake in eyewear startup Lenskart for about $600 million. Delhi-based Lenskart valuation is expected to be at $4.5 billion. Chris Capital, which has backed startups like Dream11, Express Bees and First Cry in India, is expected to invest $100 million in Lenskart. This large investment in Lenskart comes at a time when startups are under stress and are laying off their employees. Flipkart co-founder Binny Bansal is in talks to invest about $100 to $150 million in PhonePe as part of an ongoing financing round at the digital payments company. People in it have said, if the transaction goes well, it will be among the largest individual investments in a new age firm, similar to that of the $100 million bet taken by Flipkart's other founder Sachin Bansal in Ola during 2018. Byju's, which is the world's most valuable edtech startup, is seeking to raise as much as $250 million through the issuance of convertible notes by its tutoring service unit Akash Educational Services. The firm's tutoring business provider, which will issue the notes that will convert into equity at a discount of 20% to the listing price of the unit's planned initial public offering. The pre-IPO round at Akash will help the startup to tide over a liquidity crunch, as talks to raise funds at a parent level are getting delayed with a prolonged due diligence process. And with that, it's a showdown on this week's Companynama. See you again next Saturday with more from the corporate and startup world. Until then, catch up on Money9's other weekend shows like Taxing Times and Reality Check, and stay tuned to Money9.